Okay, so welcome to this evening's webinar. As you can see tonight, we're going to be talking about team building, specifically team building for beginners if you've just started, but it's always good to have a refresher even if you've been doing it for a little while. And this is number 4 in a series of 8 trainings that I do every Wednesday night about this time. Well, most Wednesday nights. Sometimes it takes me, if I need to take a week off if I'm going to some event or some other family commitments, but try and do one every Wednesday night. And there's 8 in the series. So the first 3, numbers 1, 2 and 3, are more about the retail side of the business, kind of getting started, building up your customer base, that sort of thing. Tonight and next week, we're going to be talking about sharing this opportunity with other people, which is a great way to build your income bigger than you can just on your own. Oops, sorry, just got my cup of tea. And then number 6, 7 and 8 after that are really, they could almost be the first ones. These are the intangible skills that you need that are not specific to posting something on Facebook or putting a catalogue out or delivering an order. They're more about understanding yourself, how to get more out of your time, how to set goals that drive you to work harder, how to develop yourself and overcome weaknesses and fears and things. So those 6, 7 and 8 are really, really important as well. And these are all recorded, so if you've just started, for example, you don't have to wait 5 or 6 weeks to watch the Getting Started one. At the end of this webinar, I'll show you where the recordings are, and then you can go back and watch any of them if you want, and you can watch this one again if you thought it was a really good one. So, tonight, we're going to be covering team building, and we're going to be asking a couple of questions like, do you have to build a team? Some people don't. In fact, lots of people don't. When I started, my sponsor told me that probably only about 20% of all the distributors in the company actually build a team. So no, you don't need to, but we should ask the question, should you build a team? And if you do decide to, what tools do you need? And how can you get started? And there's a little process that I'm going to suggest that you can follow. So, good question to everybody. What do you all think? There's a little bit of audience participation here. Do you think you have to build a team as a distributor? What does anybody think? Yes, you have to. No, you don't have to. Anybody got any thoughts? Jeff and Fran says no. Sue says when the time's right. Not necessarily. Yep, good. Not necessarily so. It sounds like a song. No, but better bonuses. Yep, thank you, Emma. Yeah, you guys have all got the gist. You don't actually have to build a team. As I said, there are lots of distributors who don't, and there are lots of people that earn really good income from their own personal retail, either catalogue side or Facebook side. So you don't have to build a team. And as I said earlier, in fact, most distributors don't. But it's important to know that you can. And quite often what will happen is you can almost become an accidental team builder. You can be delivering your catalogues and a customer will say, oh, Chris, my brother-in-law's just lost his job. Do you know if they're looking for Kleeneze distributors in, wherever, Aberystwyth or Leeds or wherever, or even in your own hometown? That's quite often your customer will say to you, oh, you know what, I could do with a bit of extra money. I really like the products. Could I do it? And of course you would say yes. You may not know how to, but that's what your sponsor's there for. So, you don't have to build a team. What I'm going to suggest to you, though, is that you should. And for a number of reasons. Firstly, you can earn a much bigger income as a team. At the end of the day, there's only a certain number of catalogues you can deliver in 24 hours, even if you're working 24 hours. There's only a certain number of Facebook posts you can put out. So having a team just means you can get a much bigger business. And the beauty of it, really, is that you get paid even when you're not working. So if you're ill or you decide to go on holiday, you're still getting paid all of your bonuses because of the work that you've done sharing this opportunity with other people in the past. So what sort of tools do you need? If you decide you'd like to have a go at team building, what do you need to get started? Well, there's a couple of just basic things. Firstly, you do need a diary. You need some way of keeping track of the people that you've spoken to, what appointments you've made. If somebody asks us for a bit of information, and you say you'll ring them back tomorrow to see what they thought about it, and then tomorrow comes along and you're thinking, oh God, I know there was somebody I was going to ring, but the school ring up and you've got to just snip and pick up little Jimmy from school, and so you do need some way of keeping track of things. And when you're only speaking to one or two people a day, maybe you've got a brilliant memory and you can remember them. But once you get beyond one or two or three people a day, you do need some way of keeping track of them. And there are some fantastic bits of software out there called contact managers. Speak to your sponsor, because I'm sure they'll be using one. And these are just great bits of software that allow you to keep all of the details of your contacts in one place. Keep notes of what they've said. Maybe it's not right for them now, but maybe in the future. So you keep track of all of the different people that you've spoken to about the business in one place. You need some kind of telephone. I know it's kind of fairly obvious these days, but even to text on Facebook messaging and things, at the end of the day, when you're signing somebody up and you're trying to support them, you need to be able to speak to them. So a telephone is pretty essential. And you need some information to send them. It's all very well somebody saying, oh, I quite fancy doing that, what's involved? If you're not a professional presenter, you're far better off using the tools of the trade, which are the videos that the company have provided for you, brochures, leaflets. There's all sorts of professionally produced information, which is what you should be sending. You shouldn't be trying to explain it all to them yourself. Okay, so the best way to get started is by starting with your warm list. And that's just people that you already know. So it's your friends, your family, your dentist, your plumber. There'll be all sorts of different people that you know. So a good thing to do is just to make a list of 10 people. And it's so easy these days. That can just be 10 people on your Facebook friends list, or on your mobile phone, just go to your contacts and just pick 10 out of there. So that's an easy peasy way to get started. You don't have to kind of spend ages thinking about, who on earth do I know? And what I would suggest you do is you just send them a message. You can give them a quick call, send them a message, and we use what I would say is we call the third party approach. So this is just something like, hi Laura, just wanted to let you know I've just started my own online business. It's going really, really well. Who do you know who'd like to earn some extra money working from home online? Now that's just really, really simple. You don't have to learn some complicated script. You're just saying, hi, how are you? How are the kids? Oh, sorry I haven't been in touch for a while. So the reason for my call, I'm just so excited. This is going really, really well. Do you know anybody who'd be interested in earning some extra money? And I guarantee you'll have some people saying, oh, what's that all about then? So I'll explain in a moment what to do when people say they're interested or they might know somebody. But you can add more people to this list every day. You should work your way through your Facebook friends list, through your phone contact list. Just make sure you contact everybody. And then once you've sent them some information, I'm going to explain a little bit about the sort of information you can send them. You should follow up. So just a day or two later, hi Laura, it was lovely to speak to you the other day. Did you get a chance to watch those videos? What did you think? Did anyone come to mind? Just a little chat like that, and you never know where it might lead. And at the beginning, we're not really expecting Laura or your friend or your plumber or your dentist to say, oh yeah, I've been looking for this all my life. What you're expecting is for them to say, oh, it looks really interesting. Can't think of anybody at the moment, but if I can think of somebody, I'll let you know. Because what you're doing is you're sowing your seeds. Because over the next few days and weeks and months, as you become more and more successful and your income grows and people start to see that you've got a new car and you've been doing 2 or 3 holidays a year, and then suddenly their circumstances change and they just had their hours cut at work, or their wife's just lost a job or whatever, they're going to be thinking, oh, you know what, Chris asked me the other, a few months ago about some part-time work. That looked quite interesting actually. And they'll come back to you at that point when the time is right for them. Now another place to get started, a great place to get started, is if you're doing this on Facebook, which I recommend you do, even if you're not an expert on it. You know, it's fairly simple to learn. Your selling group is not just for selling to. It's a network, because all of the people that you're introducing into your group, you shouldn't just be trying to sell to them. You should be building a community, running little competitions and quizzes and things, and getting to know people. And people will start to get to know you and like you and trust you. So you should be building it big, running competitions regularly to get more and more people into your group to build your network. And you can do that, you know, you could ask your friends, hey guys, I've just started this new online business, I'm really excited. Would you mind adding a few of your friends just to help me get started? You can promote your group in local groups, and you can use competitions. So there's lots of different ways to do that. And you don't have to just do that once. Because once you've got, you know, you've added a few more people, maybe you've got up to 500 or 600 people, you can then do it again. You can do another competition, and those people who are new will add more people. And you can just repeat doing that over and over again. Ask the people who are there to add their friends, promote it again in more local groups, and use competitions to build your group as quickly as you can. And then, you know, every now and again, you know, not every day, but, you know, once a fortnight maybe, once or twice a month, you can just put a little note in the group, as well as, you know, all the other stuff that's going on. You can put something in there like this. Hey guys, I'm just curious if anyone would like to earn some extra money just by advertising some of the stuff in this group. This is what I earned in my first 4 weeks. Or, you know, and you can put a picture of your check. If you don't have a check yet, speak to your sponsor. There'll be somebody else cross-line maybe who's got a check for their first few weeks who will be quite happy for you to do that. And that check doesn't have to be a massive check, you know, just for 150, 200, 250 pounds. People will say, oh, you know what? Earning an extra 250 quid just messing about on Facebook. I need to find out a bit more about this. And you'll get lots of people curious and wanting to know more. So that's a great way to start building your team. And this is an example. I did this, last year sometime, October I think it was. Just put an advert in there, exactly the same, the wording I said, the little check at the top there, and you can just see, it's difficult to see the detail here, but you can just see all the comments I got here from people saying, can you tell me a bit more please, what's it about, you know, how do I do this, can anybody do it, all sorts of little comments and things. So it's amazing what the number of people who'll be curious about it. And the beauty of these leads, and these are really good quality leads, because the beauty is, firstly, they're free, secondly, everybody who's replied has Facebook. You know they do, otherwise they wouldn't be in your selling group. And they can see what's involved. They kind of know how it works. You know, you don't have to explain hardly anything because they're in your selling group. They can see what you're doing, and they can see the evidence that it works, because there'll be little comments saying, please can you order one of these please? And you might say like, oh yeah, that's no problem, Sue, I'll deliver it on Wednesday. So they can kind of see how it all works. It's a really great way to showcase your business. First checks are great. You know, obviously as you grow on in the business and you start promoting, you know, you're earning 500, 700, 1,000, 2,000 pounds a month, use those as well. But you will often find, if you're putting a check up there, if you're earning 5,000 or 10,000 pounds a month and you put a check up, although it's quite inspiring, a lot of people might be a bit suspicious if they don't really know you. They sort of think, oh, this looks like one of those scams. But just saying an extra 250 quid for 4 weeks work on Facebook, that's really believable, and people will say, you know what, that would just make such a massive difference to me. So your first checks are so important, because also, even if you are earning much bigger sums than that, when you start talking to people, quite often what they'll be interested in isn't how much are you earning now, it's how much did you earn at the beginning. How much am I going to earn? Because I'm not going to earn £10,000 straight away, so how much did you earn in your first few weeks? So that check that says £200, £300 is really, really valuable. So once you've put your advert in your group, there's a very simple process that you follow to go through it. And I haven't got loads of detail in here. This is just to give you a bit of guidance, so speak to your sponsor for the specifics. But basically, the simple process is that somebody will reply to an advert. You then send them some information. You then follow that up. That's really, really important. Don't just send them the information and wait for them to get back to you. You follow up, and then those that are happy and interested, you sign them up. So I'm just going to expand on those 4 steps a little bit. So if someone replies to an advert, my advice to you is send them the information straight away. If you've got a kind of a contact manager autoresponder set up, then you can just set it up automatically. Just direct them to your website, and once they've entered their details, they will automatically get the information straight away. If you haven't got a contact manager set up yet, then you can do it manually. Obviously, you just need to be quick on your toes, as it were. So as the emails come in or as people request information, then you need to be on your toes so you can send it to them quickly. If somebody asks for some information and it's 3 days later before you get back to them, they'll have forgotten all about it, and if they are genuinely looking for something, they'll have gone somewhere else. So you need to be reasonably quick to get back to them. And what I recommend that you start off with is just send them the Independent You 4-minute video. This is just a really simple video where it just gives you a great idea, and it's very professionally done. So rather than you trying to explain to them how it all works, that just gives them a really great idea. What I would then suggest you do is call them up within 24 hours. And obviously you might not have their phone call, so you could ask for that. You know, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, that's no problem, give me your number. If they don't, just ask for it again. Just say, oh, if you give me your number, then I can call you up and tell you a little bit about how it all works. And what you do with that phone call is we're not following some complicated script here to try to persuade them to join at all. All that you're doing is building a bit of rapport with them. So ask a bit about their situation, what you do at the moment, and listen. A lot of people have got all sorts of challenges in their life that an extra 250 quid would solve. And half the time, what they're worried about is that nobody ever listens to them. You know, they would love to have somebody who they can explain what their problem is, who will then say, okay, I think we can help you with that. So listen to it. Then you should ask them, have they watched the video? If you've sent them the video, you want to know that they've watched it. If they haven't, I would just say, okay, the next steps are, I'm going to go through it in a bit more detail, but I really need you to watch the video first. Do you think you'll be able to watch it this evening? Or how soon would you be able to watch it? And then once they've watched the video, again, you can call them up 24 hours later again. Ask them, what did they like most about it? What was best about it from their point of view? Because what you're trying to get is what's important to them. Is it the flexibility? Is it the fact that you could build it to a really big income? Is it, they like the products? It could be all sorts of different things. But there's no point in you saying to them, well, when I joined, what was really important to me was the fact that I could, at top of my pension, because I retired last year and I just needed an extra 250 quid just to kind of pay for the pension that I was struggling with. Because there might be a 21-year-old girl who's got no interest in saving up for a pension. So you need to understand what's important from their point of view. So that's a really important question to ask. And then, once they've done that, you can book an appointment with them to go through the details. They may not be able to do it there and then, or you may not be able to. So it's not a bad thing just to sort of say, you've got your diary handy, let me give you a call tomorrow afternoon and go through it in a bit more detail and explain what the next steps would be if you might be interested in joining. So that's the follow-up. It's fairly simple. It might take 2 or 3 or 4 phone calls to make sure that you understand what their situation is and that they've watched the video and you found out what they like about it. But that's not a bad thing, because each of those phone calls, you're starting to build up a bit of rapport and they're starting to get to like you and know you and trust you. And that's really, really important part of the whole team building process. Now, one of the things I would suggest is if you are going to be serious about this, it's worth investing in a contact manager. Because what you'll find is that most people who request a bit of information don't join straight away. They have a look at it, maybe they decide, oh, it's not right for me, or they're put off by the startup cost, or you just can't get hold of them. All sorts of reasons why they might not join. But once you've got their details in a contact manager, then that you can build this huge database, thousands and thousands and thousands of people who at some point, you never know when their circumstances might change and when they might be interested in earning some extra money. So what you can do with Contact Manager is send them stories regularly. There's a constant flow of success stories, just short little testimonials on Facebook or from Gavin or all sorts of different places of people, fantastic stories, just, people finding a way to earn an extra £200, £300 a month around their family situation, which, if you've got a database of 100,000 people, you never know when those people are going to need a bit of extra money. So this is a great way to build up old leads and then keep in touch with them. Now, when you've had this conversation, they've watched the videos, you've explained a little bit about how to get started, you will have some people that say, yes please, I'm ready to get started, really excited, what do we do next? So then you want to sponsor them. And my advice to you is you always do the sign up with them. It's all it takes is an email. You take some details, send them an email. But I guarantee if you just send the email to them, something will something will crop up. It's only kind of 10 minutes to walk through it all with them. But if you just leave them to it, sorry, if you just leave them to it, they'll come across the terms, conditions, or they'll get stuck on some screen and they're not sure what to do, and they're nervous about calling you up and looking foolish, so they just ignore it. They just delete the screen, and then you can't get hold of them again. Always do it with them, because you can just walk them through it step by step. It's really simple. If you haven't done it before, do it with your sponsor, because your sponsor's obviously done it, because they've got you started. And also, if you're going through it with them, once you've done it 2 or 3 times, you can anticipate the sorts of questions people might ask. And then once you've got the payment successful and the congratulations screen comes up, then that's when your work really starts, because then you can congratulate them, welcome them to the team, and let them know, how they're going to get started, what will happen next, and how you can support them. What I recommend is at that point, while you've still got them on the phone, get them to send you a Facebook friend request if they're on Facebook. Or you send them a Facebook friend request if you can, obviously find each other. Sometimes if your name's like mine, Chris Smith, there's probably 420,000 of them. But, with a bit of work, you can work out, what their Facebook ID is and get a friend request, because that's a great way just to keep in touch and start sharing things with them. And then I would say the next thing will be to plan your getting started appointment with them and your induction. So however you do that within your team, speak to your sponsor to find out how that works. But you really want to get this done as quickly as possible. You want to be congratulating them, welcoming them to your team, have a good call with them, get them up and running with all of the training so that they can kind of dive straight into earning some money while they've got all this initial enthusiasm and excitement. Okay, I've pretty much run through that fairly quickly. I hope that wasn't too quick for you guys. What you should now know is whether or not you have to build a team. Well, we said you don't have to, but my advice is you should certainly look into it, because there are lots of advantages. Explained a bit about the tools. It's simple things just like a diary, a phone, obviously, some way of keeping track of it. You need to know what information you're going to send them, but these days there are so many fantastic videos you can use. I've explained to you a good way to get started. Just start by going through your warm list, your list of Facebook friends, your contacts in your phone. You're not asking them will they join, you're just saying, would you do me a favour, have a little look at this information, let me know if you know anybody. I've explained a bit about what you do when you get a lead, so have a bit of a chat with them, build up a bit of rapport. I've explained what information to send them and how to do that follow-up. So I hope that all made sense, guys. I mentioned that there's several of these, so next week is going to be all about supporting new team members, and all of the ones that I talked about, all 8 of them, they're all recorded, so bear with me. I'm just going to stop the recording now.